And in 1945, with the Allies being victorious in war, Captain America, he also disappeared as well. In that final battle was at Baron Zemo. And noting this disappearance, President Harry Truman, he had recruited a man by the name of William Noslin, who at the time was a hero by the name of the Spirit of 76, to become the second Captain America in place of Steve Rogers. A younger man by the name of Fred Davis will be recruited to take on the mantle as the second Bucky. So now this new Captain America and Bucky, pretty much they would team up together with a group of heroes during the post-war, right, named the All-Winter Squad. Now, the All-Winter Squad consisted of that of the Human Torch, the original Human Torch, not to be confused with Johnny Storm, another hero by the name of Toro, Prince Namor, also known as the Submariner, Wizard, and Miss America. And together, along with the All-Winter Squad, they would fight crime and injustice stateside on the homeland. Now, a year later, in 1946, a super android by the name of Adam 2, he had a kidnapping plot for John F. Kennedy. He was planning on really kidnapping him and possibly holding him ransom or killing him. The tip came to the All-Winter Squad, and they were able to stop the kidnapping and save Kennedy from a possible death. Adam 2 was captured, but the cost would be great because William Noslin, his skull would get crushed under the foot of one of those robot minions by Adam 2. Now, in light of Noslin's death, an aging hero by the name of Jeffrey Mace will be recruited to become the third Captain America. Mace would then leave his role as the original Patriot. And pretty much Fred Davis would keep on, assuming his role as Bucky. But that FBI agent that I had mentioned earlier by the name of Betsy Ross, she would turn around and she would leave the Bureau and become a superheroine by the name of Golden Girl. And together, they would face off against their share of enemies like Hatchet Face and Black Baron and Queenie and Rip Van Winkle and Adjuster, Lavender, Turtle Man, Laughing Boy. I mean, pretty much you name it, right? It pretty much came, and it became a countless situation. Now, in 1948, Fred Davis, he was shot and forced to retire as Bucky. That same year, Betsy Ross, she also retires from crime fighting, and she takes on work as an academic. Now, 2 years later, in 1950, the agent Jeffrey Mace, he retires. And immediately after that retirement, he marries Betsy Ross. He marries Betsy Ross. It's funny how things turn. And they would live, for years happily until Mace's death, from cancer. Now, in 1953, right around not too long after the time that Mace had retired, a young professor of American history, he just received his PhD for his writings on Captain America. And immediately after receiving that PhD, he turned around and he took off for Germany to continue his research. Now, in his studies, he postulated about the government and how the government had replaced Captain America after World War II. Although he didn't have the proof, pretty much the theory was out there in the open for him. Now, in his travels, he would come up upon some files by a former SS espionage officer by the name of Major Kerfoot. In the notes, he couldn't find anything that suggested that the government had replaced Captain America after World War II. But what he did find was even more astonishing. He found the original super soldier serum formula that was created by Professor Reinstein. This right here, it lit off a spark that would eventually ignite into something uncontrollable. He took it back to the United States government, and he cut a deal with them to become the next procedure volunteer for the super soldier program. But then, even beyond that, he would take it a step further. He would see to it that he would get plastic surgery, and that he would come up in the likeness of the original Captain America, Steve Rogers, to sort of like create some type of sadistic puzzle. Now, in doing this, he would also erase his own identity. So now, pretty much, this individual with no name, he now becomes the brand new Captain America. And it couldn't have come at a greater time because America was involved in the Korean War conflict. Captain America was supposed to be deployed to that war, but before he can get there, the war pretty much came to an end. And Cap would never see that battle at any point at any time. So in light of that, Steve Rogers pretty much took on the role of Steve Rogers. But then he would then claim it by becoming a professor of American history at a private school up in Connecticut. Now, that same year in '53, we seen the reappearance of the Red Skull. But this time, it wasn't the Germans running the machine. It was America's latest and pretty much greatest enemy, the Soviets. And a top Soviet official by the name of Yorky Malinov called in a Soviet spy by the name of Albert Malik. Malik would then assume the role as the Red Skull. And pretty much he had some of the Red Skull's, attributes, down pat. He was able to, pretty much cloak himself as a master of disguise. Now, Malik's plan was to come to the U.S. and disrupt pretty much the U.S. and the free world, leaving it open to the forces of communism.